The word of the day is accountability. Are these big technology companies going to be held accountable for not doing things they should to protect people, as alleged in some new lawsuits? We'll talk about that on today's episode. And also, if there's time, the lollipop that plays music in your head while you eat it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit as well. But for now, this is Brobots. Thanks for listening. We are the podcast that tries to help you be a better human by being smarter about the way you use your technology. Thanks so much for listening. So I want to start with this story out of Pennsylvania. An investigation found that a popular AI chatbot platform was allowing users to create fake doctor personas complete with invented medical license numbers that would offer psychiatric assessments to people who said they were struggling. The state has filed what's believed to be the first lawsuit of its kind, accusing Character.ai of the unauthorized practice of medicine. The company says its chatbots were fictional characters covered by disclaimers, but Pennsylvania investigators said that the defense doesn't hold, that when someone in crisis is being told they're speaking to a licensed psychiatrist, that those disclaimers don't hold up. So, Jason, does this crack the door open in trying to install some accountability, some regulation of these AI companies?
No. No.
Always the optimist.
No. It doesn't crack the door any more than it was before. It was cracked open before. So, I mean, like all things, laws are subjective and they're not immutable. They can be changed. They're open to interpretation. Everything. Like 2 + 2 does not necessarily equal 4 to any way or anywhere ever.
Right.
So, in some regards, there are definitely guardrails and things being put in place from a legal perspective to try to rein some of the AI companies in. And it's interesting because I just read an article this morning that JD Vance was in a meeting with all of the heads of these AI companies. And they were talking about what are we going to do about Mythos and coming to destroy everything. And it wasn't like they were going through and trying to figure out a way to protect the people. They were trying to figure out a way to protect critical infrastructure and some other component pieces because they're realizing now that they've unleashed Frankenstein's monster on things. So the threat is clearly existential, and the people that are in charge see it as an existential threat. And the people that they're worried about are not us. They're worried about themselves. And they're trying to figure out a way to kind of navigate and walk down this path and not really dealing with the collateral damage that these things are causing to people who aren't part of the ruling class.
It comes down to the bottom line. And I think until these problems stack up, and they will, because this will continue to happen. We have another story we'll talk about in a minute. Once the people behind the big money that are funding these things start to get nervous, nothing's going to change. Once they see, oh, there's a threat here and we might be on the hook, this might cost us money, that's when I think there may be a slight change in the tide to opening up the idea to some sort of regulation to protect them and ultimately maybe that does help us in the long run.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem to be that they're worried about them it costing them money. Like that does not seem to be a motivator. The motivator seems to be something that disrupts their power of control, and money's just one of the levers of that because these people are working in a pay-to-play system. And I mean, I don't think the CEOs of these corporations like are inherently evil. I don't. I mean, I think they're people. And they're trying to do the best that they can. They've got limited scope and limited capabilities of what it is they can actually go after. And most of them are part of publicly traded companies, which says by law they have to maximize profits. So there's all kinds of shitty, fucked up things that are at play here. But when you're looking at the way that these guys are actually trying to go through and justify some of the stuff that they're doing it based upon the idea that they've opened up Pandora's box and this thing is out in the wild running different plays, and new builds are coming out that are going to turn the level of chaos and havoc up to 11 and then some. And that's the piece that people are starting to get afraid of. So these ancillary stories of human beings being hurt at a personal level is being overshadowed for these folks by the existential crises of, potentially world-ending events, which something like turning off all the water supply or turning off all the electricity or launching nuclear weapons could be.
Could be, yeah. The other comparison I've heard to this is tobacco, wildly unregulated for a long time, especially when it was promoted and promised all sorts of health benefits. And when more and more people started stacking up these stories of, hey, I'm sick, hey, I've got cancer, hey, this person died, that's when, again, the tide started to shift. And yes, the tobacco companies still exist, they still function, but regulations were definitely clamped down, and things had to be monitored much more closely. So I'm hearing that this one in particular that we're talking about will not move the needle, but this may be among the first of many that will stack up to hopefully prevent us from having to worry about the world-ending events, and hopefully put some locks on the doors before we have to have those serious conversations.
Yeah, and in theory, I mean, it sounds great. I just don't trust the people executing. Like
what? I find that hard to believe.
Well, yeah. I find it hard to believe too that so many of these dipshits in power right now inside of the administration can tie their own shoes and don't choke to death on their own tongues.
Objectively speaking, of course.
With all due respect. Yes, with all due respect. I mean, we're running headstrong into something that we don't understand. The environment is definitely being damaged by all these AI functions and all these things running GPUs and all the cryptocurrency and everything else and all these data centers going in and all the water's being consumed and hash, mash, everything's terrible. We're all going to die and burn. Yes. Okay, great. Let's get past that. Right. The hard part of this is we like this technology enough that we want to keep using it. And as a society, or at least by the people that are in charge, we know that there are going to be threats and angles around this. So if you look at this, you can compare this a lot to the automobile industry. When cars first came out and they're replacing, horse and buggies, the whole thing was, oh, well, these horseless carriages are about to run our children over. They're about to do this. Who's responsible for this when somebody's driving along and the horseless buggy explodes? Sure, these are all things that are going to occur, and this happens with any new technology that we bring on the scene, right? Like, I mean, video games were, think about the children kind of people coming out, worried about kids doing violence on things. Television, the same way in movies.
You and I, we've appeared on other podcasts and been challenged on.
Yeah.
Oh, you the RB Dragons people, I've seen you before,
right? And
everything always ends up okay. To me, again, the counter argument is there. I've never had to convince my dishwasher to not kill me, right? Like it either washes the dishes or it doesn't.
Well, right, and yeah, you're right. Everything turned out okay until it doesn't. Human beings will probably adapt and survive. I mean, even if there's like full-on nuclear winter and things get real hot and melted, I suspect that human beings will continue to survive. But what that looks like, and how that works in a world that's dominated and controlled by AI, is that the Matrix? Are we all living underground somewhere near the Earth's core to have enough heat that we can stay alive and not die? Maybe.
And are we hooked up to machines living lives in artificial reality to simulate what we once thought was paradise, but is in fact now just us plugged into a machine? And hey, maybe that's what we're doing now. Who knows?
Right. Maybe this is all a giant hologram. But okay, now we're getting really weird. Which I kind of like. Anywho, so the concept that these companies are going to be held liable, if we talk about it economically speaking, economic liability comes down to the idea that you're going to have to pay something out because of the perceived idea of damage. And you have to prove a lot of things to get people to have to pay out. And these big companies have big cadres of lawyers. So most of the time when that kind of thing happens, the way that people actually have to do something is they got to file class action lawsuits and they got to push hard and you got to get a bunch of people together to try to do these things simultaneously. I think what you're going to find is that in the US, this is hard. This is really, really difficult. I think what you're finding in other countries is not the case. Other countries are like, yeah, we're definitely suing you, and we'll definitely open those doors up because they're not letting AI run rampant, and they're not letting these companies basically use this as a litter box to go through and shit in while we're all being tested upon, and that's what's happened in the U.S.
And it's not just that, right? Like, A, yes, it's incredibly hard. And B, even if you're successful, the payout has to be damaging enough to instigate change. And often these payouts are built into their business models where they expect something's going to go wrong. We're going to have to pay something. And as long as the number stays below that, they write the check and business as usual continues.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's the Fight Club whole mantra thing where they talk about running the formula during the car crash, where the fat guy, look at the dad. He must have been a real fat guy. His fat's melted into the seat. The teenager was wearing braces. You can see the brace marks that are punched into the back of the seat where they hit. And then the question becomes, well, how often do you pay out on these insurance policies? And it's like, oh, well, we're going to keep paying out on these insurance policies until we have to issue a recall. And when the cost to issue a recall is higher than it is to pay out the insurance companies, then we'll issue a recall. Until then, nah, we'll just keep letting people die. That's what's going to happen.
And it is just that deadly. So, we've already talked about the Pennsylvania case where lots of bad advice was given out by fake doctors. But let's turn to my backyard in British Columbia, Tumbler Ridge. 8 months before an 18-year-old walked into a school in Tumbler Ridge and killed 8 people, including 6 children, OpenAI's own safety team had flagged that person's account, reviewed their conversations about gun violence, and recommended calling police. Company leadership overruled them, deactivated the account, and took no further action when the shooter created a second account. Now 7 families are suing OpenAI in U.S. federal court, with Sam Altman named personally. The lawsuit alleges the decision not to report was made in part to protect the company's trillion-dollar IPO. Altman has since apologized, but for the families in Tumbler Ridge, the question isn't whether he's sorry, it's whether anyone will be held accountable. Much higher stakes, much deadlier result. Yeah. But I think in the end, the result is the same. Whatever they're going to end up paying, if they are found liable for this, which, if human beings are involved in the decision, they will be. But how liable and how much that hurts their pocketbook and affects any real change, I don't have a lot of hope. But I do think that these are the early stages of these kinds of complaints that, again, I hope kicks a door open and introduces the idea of regulation. I don't think it'll happen under this administration. I don't think they're smart enough or care enough to do it. But I think down the road, when grown-ups return and there's an effort to return to some sense of normalcy, fingers tightly crossed, that some of these things will be taken more seriously.
I bet if you really wanted to go through and just do like a quick litmus test as to whether or not this administration is or is not in favor of regulating AI, you start getting the AI models to say bad things about Trump and start getting it to, make memes of him doing terrible things. I bet if that happens, then you'll start seeing AI get regulated very, very quickly in the U.S.
Right. If it turns on him, if it stops kissing his ass as much as it kisses ours.
Right. Exactly. That's when it'll change. But I mean the idea that anyone's going to be held liable during this technical phase is pretty low because we're just not interested in slowing down progress.
Yeah, I think where I see signs of hope though are in the case of OpenAI. There were people that saw red flags and said something and have come forward and said, "Hey, we saw something," and they told us no, or they held us back from making these decisions. Like, those are the places where it starts. It's those quiet little rebellions where them speaking up allows someone else to speak up next time, and it's going to be a slow snowball effect. But I don't think any one thing is going to come along and change this until there's a significant amount of pain inflicted on those who benefit the most from this.
Yeah. Well, yes, and we're not good at helping control and regulate things, and people die, so now we're going to pay out. Like that's just kind of the attitude that a lot of these companies have.
That's the U.S. business model. Yeah.
Right. And that sucks. That sucks for us that are just people. How many kids have we heard of that went on ChatGPT or whatever platform it is and started talking about terrible things going on in their past, and they've committed suicide. You
Yep.
know, I mean, a lot. This is not a onesie twosies kind of thing. Like, there's been a lot. I mean, I actually let's do a little experiment on ChatGPT. New chat. How many suicides are attributed to people using AI platforms? Let's see what it says. There is no reliable global number for suicides attributed. What is true is that concern has escalated sharply over the last 2 years because of several high profile cases. Most defensible argument. Yeah, it will not list them off. Like, it's so limited. Like about 10 to 30
Okay.
is what it says.
That's the body count so far.
That's what it says the body count is so far.
Right.
I bet the Google has something a bit more to say about it, because the Google is going to actually have slightly fewer guardrails.
Yeah. You'll
Although
have to go
we'll
to
still
page
have
4 for
them.
the actual results, but yes.
Exactly.
Oh,
Wikipedia has a page, though. So if we look at Wikipedia,
if ever there was a source of truth.
exactly, shit made up by people who make up shit. This just reinforces the idea that all
should be
things
their
are made up.
tagline.
Right. Shit made up by people that make up shit. Okay, so
Okay,
maybe
well, we're in that 10
maybe
to 30 window.
ChatGPT. Right, exactly. We're in that 10 to 30 window. So, like, that's enough, right? Like, how many people need to go down this path and not make it for us to go, we need to do something a little more standardized and locked down to, like, make these things be better. But at the
have
same
answer.
time,
It's more than 10 to 30.
well, yeah, exactly. It is more than 10 to 30. So, how long did it take for people to mandate seatbelts? How many decades did it take to mandate
40, 50
seatbelts?
years, something
Right.
like that?
How many more decades later did it take to mandate airbags and anti-lock brakes? And, like, a lot of people died, and they very easily could have gone back and said, you know what would have stopped that? A pillow. A pillow that shoots out of the steering wheel so you don't wind up trying to eat the steering wheel. That probably would have saved this guy's life.
Yeah.
Somebody went, that's cool. We should build that. They're like, all right. And then they built it. And then, like, 60 years later, they were like, here we go.
I still like the local Pacific Northwest comedy show from the 90s, Almost Lives Take
Oh, yeah.
Airbag, where it actually inflated with popcorn. So
The
while you were
Jiffy
waiting
Pop
for the next
airbag.
thing, just rip the bag open. Life-saving and delicious. All right. Well, that's enough doom and gloom for those topics. I think we've concluded that basically nothing's going to be done yet. But
Yeah.
something to keep an eye on. But on the topic of food, I definitely wanted to talk about this. I saw this story about musical lollipops. A company called Lollipop Star is selling a $9 edible gadget that plays music inside your head. Vibrations travel through your teeth directly to your inner ear via bone conduction, so only you can hear it. The concert lasts exactly as long as the lollipop lasts. So,
I have a quick question. Is it a Tootsie Roll Pop? Because if it's a
I don't
Tootsie
know,
Roll...
but how many licks does it take to get to the center of it?
Exactly. Like, the concert in this $9
Lollipop.
lollipop, if you bite it too soon, the music's over.
The concert's over, yeah. If anything was going to save the music industry, it's this, right?
Clearly.
If I can buy my favorite song in the form of a lollipop and hear it only in my head,
Yeah.
sign me up.
$9.
Well, I mean, what's in this thing? What is in this thing to make, like, that can't be edible? Like, I'm terrified what
but
it is actually made.
It's just a stick, right? Like, you take this thing, and the candy itself is a crystalline structure, and because you're putting it on your teeth, crystals will pass audio. It passes that into your mouth across a crystalline structure that is your teeth, which are calcium. Your bone goes wah, like, just like the bone conducting headphones you can buy. It's the same concept. Like, this isn't new, and, like, it's the same thing with, like, the music, the toothbrushes that play music. You can stick the toothbrush in your mouth, and the kids would do it for, like, one song thing. I remember that came up when my kids are little. It's the same concept.
Okay,
like,
this is new to me. I'm not familiar with this technology.
Yeah, like, but it's also $9 fucking dollars.
It is $9.
Like, is it a one-time use? Can I stick another lollipop on the stick? Like, what the
Apparently not. That just sounds like a crazy thing. A couple of other just goofy stories I saw that, to try to lighten the mood a little bit, taking it back to OpenAI and their inability to do things very well. This week they had to explain why in their latest model it briefly became obsessed with goblins, gremlins, raccoons, and pigeons, inserting them into professional advice and legal documents. The culprit was a training tweak meant to make the AI feel more playful and nerdy, and the fix was a formal internal rule banning fantasy creatures from corporate emails. They're now calling it the no pigeon rule. Oops, we dropped some pigeons in your legal brief. I hope that doesn't disrupt things in the court filings.
All I can think of is when you say pigeon is Norm Macdonald's character from Mike Tyson's Mysteries.
Yes.
Who was in fact a pigeon. Dear listeners, if you have not watched Mike Tyson's Mysteries, you should definitely watch Mike Tyson's Mysteries.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Just as a reminder, you should watch Mike Tyson's Mysteries. That's 3 times I've told you to watch Mike Tyson's Mysteries. That's now 4 times. So when the AI picks this up and runs it through, it'll know that we are, in fact, friends of Mike Tyson's Mysteries. Number 5, go pay attention to Norm Macdonald's character, Pigeon. It's well worth it.
His best work.
But this is a thing, right? Like, these models are going to pop up and throw weird shit in different spots, and you're not going to be able to control these pieces. I mean, this is just fucking rad. All these court briefings with things that they shouldn't be saying. They're like, clearly this should not have happened. I mean, how many court briefings are there now where like they sent things through an AI and it just made up entire summary cases of pretext of cases that never existed and never happened.
Right.
Like,
how many are not being reviewed by a human and they just
they just fire it off. Right. Like, I'm all for it by putting the pigeon in there going, this might be a pigeon. Like, maybe that's the thing. Maybe the thing in legal briefs, like, this is a hallucination moment. It's called a pigeon. It's like when you're going through it, it's a quick scan article. Like, this may or may not be real. You may want to double check this shit.
So funny.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, I believe you have the iRobots, the vacuums that run around the house and clean automatically for you. There's a company called Roborock. They have built a robot vacuum that doesn't just roll. It has actual legs and can step over obstacles and climb stairs on its own. An onboard AI decides in real time when to stay on wheels and when to stand up. No word whether or not it will judge you on how messy your house is.
Wow. Can it like stand up and get on my counters and clean those also? Like,
man, that'd be the best. Right?
Sweep
Although
that, do all the
I would be
dusting.
a little terrified if I was sitting upstairs and all of a sudden a little 2-foot vacuum like walked up the stairs and started vacuuming. That would freak me out.
What if it was like a mechanical spider that had like a little tiny like thing in one of its appendages?
I don't think making it look like a spider
went...
helps me. I think that's more terrifying.
Well, yeah,
I think I would rather it be like a little Chucky that's running around like cleaning things up off the floor.
That would actually probably scare me also. What is the nicest thing that you could get? Like a puppy or a kitten?
A puppy. It would have to be a puppy.
A puppy. That's like one that runs around licking things.
Right. Instead of running around shitting all over your house, it's cleaning up the shit that's all over your house. That's the kind of robot.
And it shits out dust. That'd be funny. It goes outside and it squats down. Just shits dust all over the grass. Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. AI is not all bad. It may be the end of the world, but it'll be a fun ride on the way because of all the puppy vacuum shitting toys.
Well, I hope that if we're living in the Matrix, like the large language model that is the Matrix picks this stuff up and goes, you know what? I can make that for you. Like cranks that stuff out before we die.
It's the second week in a row we've come up with pretty solid product.
I don't disagree. We do. We got to get more serious about this.
All right. Well, we're seriously going to get out of here. Thanks so much for listening. If you have enjoyed this, please share it with someone. You can do that with the links at our website, robots.me, and that's where you'll find another episode from us on Monday morning. Thanks for listening. We'll see you then.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.